Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, Elementary OS 5.0 Juno was released today, and let's go ahead and have a look at this. Now, before we jump into this, those of you that follow my channel, you guys may or may not know, I am not a fan of this distribution. There's a lot of issues. I've done a lot of videos detailing in fine detail why. I have run it on real hardware a couple of times. I just find it not to be a super good distro. The question is, did they fix things in this release, or is it more of the same? What are the changes? What has been improved upon? And so, of course, what we'll do is let's go ahead and just have a brief look at the release notes. Now, this is a huge document of release notes. So, yeah, they've done a lot of things to it. But as an overall summary, there's not a lot that has changed as far as the external things that one would see logging in here. There's a lot of improvements to their developers platform, which is a very good thing for developers, because oftentimes in Linux we can get into this pattern where we'll use the same software over and over, and we forget that these are user-supported software applications. And what Elementary has done a really good job of is developing a platform where developers can put their open source applications into the App Store, and they can actually put in there a notice to say, hey, what is this worth? You know, what can you do? It can prompt you, and you can pay through the App Store for access to that. Now, I don't know how much Elementary gets in the middle there. I'm not really all that concerned about it. But that is definitely a pattern. Now, while that does seem to be a very good thing on the one hand, it is also something that Canonical tried a long time ago, and it failed miserably. And so I don't know if this is a good long-term solution. Now, they say here that their key factors are to provide a more refined user experience, improve productivity for new and seasoned users alike, and to take the developer platform to the next level. In my personal opinion, having played with this for a couple hours today, the third one is certainly true. They are definitely taking their developer platform to a new level. As far as improved productivity for new and seasoned users alike, no. It has not gotten any better. It has not gotten any worse. The things that I talked about in the past are still problems, including just the weird workflow, the fact there's no minimize button you can put. And by the way, once again, just like every single release of Elementary, somebody works hard to make a tweak tool because a lot of people running this want a minimize button, and they've broken the Elementary tweak tools yet again. So we're going to have to wait for someone else to come out and redo all the Elementary tweak tools to be able to get simple things on there like, you know, a minimize button or the ability to put the close and the maximize on maybe the same side of the browser window. These are these little things that kind of stick out. So the other thing I want to point out, I'm going to scroll through here and just identify some of the key things. Of course, the App Center is certainly, this is the part of the developers platform. I did see the improvement in the fact that I didn't get hung up on the installations. However, it is day one. I don't know if the updates are going to break it in the future like it has in the past. We're going to assume it hasn't. There was one update that needed to be pushed through. It updated just fine. That used to be a problem, is that it would hang if you tried to install updates through the GUI the first time. And so that seems to be fixed. All right. The other thing that I thought was really cool is they added this new code application, which used to be Scratch. So it used to be called Scratch. This is now Code. This is a really cool application. If you are a developer, it is certainly something neat that you might want to look into. You can select all the different styles of documents so that you can get your markup done whatever way you want. And then they have white, sepia, and dark modes for the viewing screen. So that's actually really good. And those that like it, I'll mention it now because I'll forget about it later. They also put in a dark mode, or like a nighttime mode, reduce the blues. I don't actually like those particular applications on any system, but it is certainly there for those people that need it. The file manager does appear to be improved in that you have some column views, over here. So that's pretty cool. I'll see if I can remember to look for those types of things. And then one of the things I want to point out, because in their documentation, I've called this in the past a bipolar distro, because it doesn't know if it's for new users or old users, because new users have there's a lot of things that just seem crazy weird and backwards that may not understand. But then seasoned users can't get in here and do the things they want to do, like add PPAs or install deb packages. I mean, you can make the system to do that. I walked through an entire complex system as to what it takes to actually get desktop icons on your system, which is crazy. Because working off of the desktop is still something a lot of people want. And this is just following this trend with GNOME, where it's just like, nope, we're not working on the desktop. Well, what the hell's the point of the desktop? What the hell's the point of the desktop? Okay, you work on your desktop. You get things done. It's the same thing in this desk behind me. It's kind of messy because this is all the different stuff that I'm working on. And then when it's time to clean the desk off, I close things out, I shut things down. I don't go into file folders and open things up every time I'm working on a project. This is the reason we have a desktop to begin with. It's not there to display a pretty picture. It's there so we can work on it. All right, and give us the options to do that. They do have this thing in here. Let's see, there's the nightlight mode. You can do picture in a picture. This is a neat function, but when I tried this, the one time I tried this, it actually fouled up. We'll try it again. But notice something. I want you to see something here. For those people who are like, oh no, they're not targeting the Mac look. I think this is, like I said before, the look and the style and the appearance is very much like iHome device. You know what iHome is? It's that knockoff Apple stuff that looks like they're copying Apple, but it's done very cheaply. You get the same thing in Elementary, in my opinion. I don't think it's elegant. I don't think it's classy. I think it looks like crap. That is a very, very subjective opinion. You may disagree, and if you do, that's okay. But notice this on the screen. For those saying, no, we're not trying to copy Apple, even in their release notes, hit Command F. How many of you are using a Mac keyboard? Let me know. Most of us are not. For those unaware, that command translated on your probably standard Windows type keyboard, that is going to be your Meta key or your Windows button. So while they use the command button, which is an exclusively Apple thing in releasing their release notes, particularly in some places they try and say that we made it look like the elegance of Apple. It's like, why is everyone's trying to copy Apple? They're no longer innovative. They're no longer classy. They're no longer anything. They're just an overpriced, overhyped company, and that's what I fear Elementary has also become. Because it does not necessarily provide a clean user experience. It's confusing to new users. Seasoned users can't do basic things that you want to do. There's no way to really change the themes around. I just don't get it. It's like flies on hype. I don't know. I'm just trying not to be more negative on the video. We'll tone that down a little bit when we dive into actually look at it. I guess you can get animations on the panels now. I haven't seen that, but I guess your panel will actually ring at you. Shortcuts, screenshots, things like that. All right. So with all that kind of stuff being said, like I'm trying to be more objective here. I'm trying to identify the things that are moving in the right direction. I don't know. It's just a distro that's not really doing what it's promising to do. All right. But let's go ahead and jump on in and have a look at what this looks like. Okay, so here we are onto the login screen. The login screen is very nice. This is a very nice look here. And let's see if I can actually type my password while I... All right. So once you get logged in, I did actually run the updates because that was always a system, that was always a place where the system would foul up. So I did run the updates. Again, we have what I call the knockoff, the knockoff Mac appearance. It looks like they're trying to duplicate Mac, and frankly, I don't really see this necessarily as as beautiful or elegant. I don't think Mac is particularly beautiful or elegant. Of course, you have your close on the over here on the left. You have a maximize up here on the right. You have no minimize button. Now, you can minimize things by going down to the panel and clicking it in the panel. So that's kind of their justification. And every time someone's like, oh, you can do this way. Guys, but listen, I asked, how do I get a minimize button? I didn't ask how to minimize a window. Okay? You have to provide some of these things. It says something that somebody produces a tweak tool to add a minimize button, but every single installation of this or every single new version of this breaks that functionality. Okay, this is very contrasted to Ubuntu, where the vastest majority of things that you find solutions for, whether it's 11 or 12 or 13 or 14 or 15, will still work on 18. Most things considered. Not everything for sure, but this is a distro that is fairly new, and you look up online resources for how to fix things and it doesn't consistently work. And that produces a source of frustration. All right. But here we have the column views. So let's see is there anything here with anything in it? Probably not. Can I go to the file system? Well, anyway, we're on the column view. If I were to click into a folder that actually had something, it'd have something over there. Let's see. Let's go. Documents. Tab, new window. New folder. New empty file. Okay, so there we are. So now we have a new file. So you can see that we have the nice column view over there. So this is a nice improvement where you can easily track things down. So here's where we are. Let's see. Let's go back. Where are we now? Documents. There we are. All right. So the file manager here it's a nice manager. I like the way it looks. It is single clicking to open things. That is something that some people may or may not like. Let's see if there's a setting to change that. I'm not completely sure. Personal applications, so under startup, there's nothing under startup. Your default web browser. I installed Firefox and Chromium. I wanted to install a bunch of things so that I can determine if application installations were working. I really wanted to test the App Center because that was a problem in the past. Here's desktops. Here's your dock. Don't want to hide you. Okay, icon size. So I can pick 3 icon sizes, large, normal, and small. We do have hot corners. They are defaulted to do nothing, but you can set hot corners, multitasking, maximize, show application menu, show all windows, switch to new workspace, or execute a custom command. So that's good. And then we have a variety of different wallpapers. Of course, this is a nice wallpaper by default. We'll go ahead and keep that where it is. Here's your notification bar. So you can see that you do have the option to enable bubbles, sounds, or notification center on individual notifications. And there is a do not disturb mode. So we do have a lot better notifications than, say, deepen, which gives us 0 options. So that's kind of good. And then security and privacy. So these are, let's see. So this is the history, lock on sleep, turn screen off. Let's turn those off. Here's the firewall. It is off by default. That's pretty standard. See, there's housekeeping, automatically delete old temporary files. This is actually a cool function. I do like the fact that it can do these types of things. Automatically delete old trash files. So after 30 days, it's going to clear things out. This is a neat feature. Yet another good system. Location services is enabled by default, and it did not give me the option. Big warning. Bad elementary. Do not turn on location services on a Linux distro. The fact that they have location services turned on and enabled by default without giving you any indication of that in the installer, I think that's a bad thing. We have our basic hardware stuff, mouse, touchpad, keyboards, networks, online accounts. So the online accounts, so Last.fm, Fastmail, and there's email for online accounts. No. Didn't want to end yet. So the best thing about elementary, in my opinion, is the parental controls. And so the parental controls will allow you to set a variety of different tools. So if you wanted to have one system for your family, this might not be a bad system because the built-in parental controls are very good. You can select which applications the user can use, when they can get on the internet, what time periods, how long they can be on the system. They can't do a timer. They can't say turn off after 2 hours, but they can say, disable the account after a certain day, after a certain time period, or, what hours in the day do you want to have. So the parental options are something I've always praised in elementary. The next thing I mentioned is this code application. So the code application is one where I said this was a really good one. So we have your plain text, and you have a variety of different type of files that you can select from. And so with any of these, you can just go ahead and pick whatever it is you're updating. And then this is going to give you any of your code hints for anything. So there you go. This is nice. Of course, they do have this new settings panel on several of the built-in elementary tools. This allows you to select whether you want white, SEPA, or dark mode for your viewing. So that is a really nice feature, and then really easy increase or decrease the size. So that is a very nice system. Here's some extensions. Don't know much about what's in there, but I think there's extensions for various tools. Your interface for your editor. So this is a nice application. That's something that's done very well. The other thing is, let's suppose that you put up a video. So let's go ahead and go with okay, loading up a video here. So let's just load this guy up. And then what you can do is, I'm going to mute it. So what you can do is push your meta and your F key, and then you'll have this crosshair. So now I can just highlight a point of the screen that I would like. And what that does is that gives me a window down there at the bottom. Now, of course, I can't minimize, so I have to click that. Oh, of course, it's still... Okay, you have to keep it open, I guess, to play, to do anything else. But now, while that's going, it's going to give me an always open, so I can come in and if I want to do something else over here on, Firefox or anything else, I still have this option here, and I can drag it around wherever it makes sense for me to put this window. So I can keep doing a window while I'm doing other things. This is a really, really, really cool feature of elementary, of this version of elementary. So definitely this is for sure a good selling point of the system. So keep that in mind if this is the type of feature that you're using. I don't know if anywhere else in Linux that's doing this currently, but they are. I'm sure somebody else might be, but that's okay. All right, back to here. Once you come back over here, the other option that they have done for you is, and I didn't look at where it is, but in the new Epiphany, you now have the ability to sync. So if you come over here to sync, you can sign in with your Firefox account if you're using such a thing, and then that's going to give you the ability to sync all of your Firefox devices across everything through the Epiphany browser. Looked at the picture-in-picture. Oh, variable window snapping. If I can please let me out of this. Oh, for the love of God. Thank you. Okay, so you can do variable window snapping now. This is something that I've seen on some desktop environments. I think GNOME mostly comes with this. So you can snap in different panels. So let's do that. Let's open up maybe an App Center. Okay, so now you can. Oh, come on. Well, apparently the App Center can't snap. Let's open up something else that probably can. Let's just go with files. Can you snap variably? Okay, so this can snap variably. So now you can actually do a variable snap, which is a very nice feature. I like this function as well. This is not the first time I've seen this in a desktop, but it certainly is good here. Failed to fetch updates. Oh, okay, that's exciting. Oh, okay, yeah, I was attempting to launch the elementary tweak tools. It, broken. But you know what? This is a funny thing. I didn't want the thing to check for updates. It just went ahead and decided it wanted to go ahead and do that. Maybe it's because I tried to launch the App Store, but I like a little bit more control over my systems. That's one of the reasons I like Linux Mint. You know, it gives me the option. It tells me, hey, there's updates that can be done. I can completely disable that if I want to, but it's not going to give me errors and notifications on the screen necessarily. That's a minor thing. Very, very minor. All right, but that's what we get. Most of what we see is our user experience is essentially the same. We still can't work on the desktop. We still don't have a minimize button. The ways that you added the minimize button is now broken, as it was in the past. We have a nice new code editor. We have some theming colors that are on the built-in applications, but certainly not all of the built-in applications, but some of them. The file manager is a little bit nicer. And the picture inside of a picture is a nice feature. And on my full review of Elementary before, you know, the Epiphany browser, despite being slow to start sometimes, it actually runs fairly well. It's one of the web browsers that I've not had any issues with. So that is that. As far as anything else, you know what? There is one more thing I want to mention. I'm sorry. There's one more thing I want to mention. The App Center. Let's have a look at the App Center real quick. Oh, Lord, ignore. Go away. I have to figure out how to get rid of that stupid thing. All right, so in the App Store, as I said, if you find any applications then that you want to run, there is the... I've got to find one that's actually one of the paid applications. Let's just go ahead and find... Let's see. Okay, so these ones here. So Agenda. So they're saying that this is this. You can actually come down here and enter in anything, including 0 if you want. But some of the adjustments that they've done is down at the bottom, they now have this fund option where you can fund the development of the application. Basically, what's good about this platform, and one of the things that Elementary has been doing well on this, is that they have... they've gone in and made one centralized place where you can fund an account through them, and then they will disperse funds, as you say, throughout the various different places. That's the great news about the system. You can also fund for updates, or you can pay to install it and then update it for free. Those are all options as well. So the App Store is nice. There is a major downfall to the App Store, and that's that despite wanting to push all user friendliness and all this kind of stuff, they've actually excluded everything that is not necessarily open source. I think it'd be better if you said, hey, this is an open source section, but here, let me see a closed source section. Because believe it or not, some people actually do use applications like Spotify and Skype that, by the way, you can't install out of the box. And if you needed to use Skype, then the only way to get this is to install the ability to install .deb packages and then download the deb package. Versus Linux Mint, Skype, Spotify, other things like that are in this software repository. Now, maybe they could do a better job of saying what's open source and what's not open source, but this application here, as much as I'm a huge open source guy, there are a lot of tools that some people may want to look for and may want to install that I cannot find. Now, the good news is, unlike the latest GNOME Software Center, I can actually still find Thunderbird in the repo, which is good. So, of course, I did install that. I think I'm in accessories, so that's why it's not showing up. So it doesn't give me the icon, but for sure I have the I can install it, and I did. So that works out of the box. So if you like the Elementary experience and you're asking, is this worth upgrading? Absolutely. This is definitely an upgrade worth taking. There's a lot of improvements to the system that make it worthwhile to do an upgrade. There's a lot of good improvements that do indeed make this system better than the systems have been in the past. Is this a distro I'm about to go, wow, I'm going to uninstall my stuff and run this? Hell no. There's just too many things that don't jive with my workflow. And one of the biggest things that I do not like about it is that, for example, that minimize button, I'm going to keep coming back to it because it's a big issue. Every single time you do a release, somebody's got to come back in and fix the ability to add that minimize button. And then the next development release, guess what? Elementary team's going to break it, and it's going to have to go over and do it all again. All right. And the problem with that is that they're removing basic functionality. Yes, I know I can move my mouse to the very bottom of the panel and click on the thing to move it. I don't necessarily want to do that. Okay. And that's kind of the part of the user friendliness of it. I stick behind my statement. I think that this is a very bipolar distro. It claims on the one hand to be good for the new user, but great for the advanced user. An advanced user wants to do stuff the system will not allow you to do without excessive extra steps. And a new user, I think they're going to get confused in the UI. That's my personal take. So I'm sorry if you like this distribution, but I give honest opinions about what I think the software is. I think I've identified several good things. There's some key points to this that do make this an improvement over the last ones. But I would really wish that they honed in a lot more on the UI, making it more user-friendly and more user customizable, rather than just railroading a user experience they want people to have, because for whatever reason, it just follows the philosophy of Apple at the same time. And it just doesn't make sense to me. So I'm not sure exactly who Elementary is for, but if you like Elementary, definitely I would do the upgrade. You're going to get newer packages. You're going to get some of those extra features, browser syncing with Epiphany through Firefox if that's your thing. The picture in a picture is a great feature. I like that. The new code application for developers is a great thing. So there are plenty of good reasons to upgrade if you like Elementary. It's just simply not my cup of tea. So thanks for coming along on this video, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux. I hope you've enjoyed this video from Switched to Linux. If you'd like to help support the channel, check out the links at the top. There is another video over here. You can check out our Patreon page down here. And you can check out shop.switchedtolinux.com for information on a t-shirt like this or some other designs. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.